Just meditating like an hour ago. And I'll be completely honest, my meditation practice has been very inconsistent over the last few months. I've been missing like a fair amount of days. And I was meditating and I was doing like a slightly different style of meditation where instead of just following the apps and everything, I wanted to like guide myself through it. And something clicked in my mind and I found this incredibly interesting. I think you might too as well. As I was meditating and I'm trying to focus on my breath, I'm trying to stay mindful, I would get somewhat, like you get thoughts, right? Your mind wanders, and generally we see that as a bad thing and we think, or like, those thoughts are bad and everything. But you might agree with me that the thoughts that you do get when your mind wanders, like, they do seem important, like somewhat important, right? So as I'm trying to stay present, my thought and my attention went to, for example, my workout plan, and I just got random ideas like, oh yeah, like I should do an extra set there because I've been recovering quite well on my chest. I may as well add an extra set. And like my goal, I really like this guy's physique that I saw this other day, and so I want to like take some pictures of that, use that as motivation, and I think I'd have to like bulk for that and everything, right? So of course, like that's standard mind wandering, and so generally we're kind of against that, and we say, oh, this is why we meditate. But it occurred to me like it's actually a pretty important point. And I thought, okay, why am I actually getting these thoughts right now? And it's simply because I haven't allowed my brain to truly think of them. If you find that your mind wanders a lot, especially in meditation, that's when you're most aware, but just throughout the day, you can meditate and that's fantastic. But another thing you can do is simply think. We don't give ourselves time to think anymore. I want you to think of like the most successful, the most wise, the most influential and ambitious people. I'm telling you right now that they do a lot of thinking time. There's people who've got like Bill Gates, they've got like famous time where they go out and literally just think. Like that they act like that's like their full-time job. They go on a trip to just think. They shut everything off. You can imagine things like Thomas Edison and like old school type of people and like Einstein and everything. You know for a fact that those guys weren't just constantly just fucking consuming shit. You know that they would have spent some time just sat on like their rocking chair, just like looking at their wall. Like looking at walls has been like a timeless habit of the successful. Because it's such a like there isn't a huge amount of like mental fatigue that happens from it. Like you don't feel sick. You don't feel like, like after you spend loads of time reading or learning or like doing some like tasks on your computer, sometimes you get like that brain frying feeling. And you know for a fact that if you visualize this right now, that you just kind of like sat back and you just spent literally an hour just in a slow way, just an hour, just kind of like just sitting around, just thinking about stuff, maybe, having something ready to type down or a piece of paper to like write down any insights. I guarantee right now, half an hour to an hour a day, and you would have such better mental clarity because you'd finally have the opportunity to think of those small things and to like get them out of your mind. The reason why our mind keeps replaying these small things is simply because it wants us to pay attention to them. I know that sounds like basic common sense, right? Whatever we keep thinking about, our mind is literally telling us, okay, focus on that, think about it, bitch. But then we don't think about it because whilst this, let's say for me, it was this workout program that I should edit, right? I should like change like the amount of sets that I do and everything. That's somewhat like quite important to me. It's related to my business. It's the most important habit that I do and everything. Like, I love the gym and my physique and everything. But I haven't gave it that time and intention to just kind of sit there and just ask myself like, is everything okay in my current workout schedule? Do I need to change anything? Because I distract myself with modern technology. And when you do that, you don't give yourself that space to actually think creatively. So there's definitely value, as we know, to reduce the amount that we consume and, to like reduce our YouTube and social media time. But I think there's so much value in specifically allowing yourself to think, and journaling is like a fantastic way to do this. And so if you have a consistent journaling practice, you can do like formal journaling, which is like, answering specific questions like, oh, what am I afraid of? What's my fears? What am I grateful for? But there's another type of journaling practice which is pretty similar to what we're talking about, which is just called like dumps, where you literally just grab a pen, informal as fuck, you're literally just writing for volume, you're not trying to edit or anything. Just dump your brain out, exactly whatever word to word your brain generates, and it says like, oh, I think I should edit this workout routine. You write that down at the same time. There was a time when I was doing that. I won't lie, I've kind of fell off the practice, but I was doing it almost every single morning. And I did have like a sense of like mental clarity. There was a moment when you'd be writing in this like morning dump. That was like the fun way. It's like Ali Abdul got me on this. You know, to dump all your thoughts out. There's usually a time when you're just kind of like done and you're almost trying to like force more things to talk about. And at that point, just, you know, end the practice. You put the last full stop. And you have like this huge level of mental clarity that's actually kind of rare amongst young people, especially just people in general in this modern age. I just wanted to make this quick video to kind of like give you that insight, because that I found that really, really interesting. I was meditating, I was so curious as to why I was thinking, you know, about this workout routine and everything. I was like, yeah, because my brain literally wants me to focus on it, wants me to think about it, and I haven't actually gave it the space to do that. So once again, we come back to the same advice that I've gave many times on my channel. Bro, just dedicate some time to thinking. Just sit and just look at your wall. I know that it doesn't seem exactly so productive, and you're thinking, oh, like, you know, I'd get a higher value from just doing another hour of fucking coding or whatever like your task is. But it probably would be like a higher ROI, because we know the truth. We know you think you're special, and so you're going to ignore the next part that I say because you're a fucking dumbass. But like, we know for a fact that the best amongst us can do a couple of hours of work a day. You think you're special because you're Indian and, you know, everyone does 12 hours of work here, and some bullshit that everyone likes to convince themselves. But the truth is that the best people do a couple of hours of work a day. If you work with your body, go ahead and work as much as you want, as much as you can. Fantastic. If you work in a factory, if you're like an Uber driver or something, yeah, work as much as you want. If you make money with your brain, if you're trying to work with your brain, you're a knowledge worker. You do not work in the same consistent slow jog. You work like a fucking lion, like a cheetah, like you work like you sprint. You sprint, you do an hour of focused, deep work, then you literally don't do work again for like 4 hours. You just rest in your brain, you're thinking, you're reading, you nap, you go to the gym, you spend some time in nature, you touch some fucking like grass and some leaves. Then you come back and do another hour of sprinting. So in that space, why not spend some time to just think? Do you know, like a random, very interesting thought just came to my mind, that there is actually a huge philosophical and like fulfillment benefit to this. Because really, the insights that you come up with after periods of deep thinking, like, they're entirely unique and creative to you. And you might be one of those people who end up like thinking of something like important. You might get like some random insight. Like, for example, imagine instead of me just, you know, doing my normal work, imagine I spend an hour really, really, really thinking, and I'm thinking about what videos to make and what videos like you guys need to see. And that's when the good insight comes to me. That's when the video idea comes to me that I make, and it helps thousands of people.